Time for that grand entrance. Your acting skills are impeccable, thank you. So every once in a while you'll see me patting myself down because I actually have stage fright, believe it or not. So, I mean, who cares about fears, right? You just have to get up and do what you need to do anyways. So every once in a while I'll have my Whitney Houston sweat rag kind of up here, just kind of patting myself down. But I'm so excited to be here and actually watching this video, I'm very empowered. When I put this project out, it served its purpose for me. I wrapped it up, I kind of put it out there for everybody else to enjoy, and I'm kind of disconnected from it. So I'm kind of back in that place where I'm feeling the power of my words in this video. And so it's from that raw, authentic place that I'm going to be speaking to all of you today. So thank you so much for being here. Truth be told, it takes just as much courage and bravery to sit here and listen. We're talking about identity, sexuality, homosexuality, three of many taboo topics in the South Asian culture. I think the fact that this conference is even happening during the same weekend that Trump takes office is no coincidence. And I think now, more than ever, it's important for us to step into our power, to be proud of who we are and to be vocal and to use our voice to create positive change in the world. And when I say step into your power, what I mean is to be proud of who you are, to be confident in your beliefs, in your culture, in your religion, whatever it is that makes you unique, and to be able to show that to the world. And I think what Mr. Trump has very successfully done is bring all those issues to the surface, to put them in a place where we can talk about them. And I actually think this is a very empowered time for us because it's going to force us to be vocal. It's going to force us to be open about what we believe. And that's what I mean about stepping into your power. So if you haven't stepped into your power here today, I hope that in some way what I have to say today is going to help you step into your power by the time you walk through those doors. He She Project is about that process of self-empowerment. It really was part of that process of me stepping into that power. I told my family I don't want to say coming out of the closet, and I'll tell you why. It's because I feel that when we say coming out of the closet, it places too much emphasis on the moment you decide to express who you are, when really there could have been years and years of struggle, trying to find your voice, being empowered by your voice, being confident, being unconfident, being scared, and being not fearful at all. And so when I say I chose to accept myself, I'm acknowledging that I went through years of hardship to come to a point where I can sit my mom and dad down and tell them that I was gay. I think the past 7 years have really been, I've learned so much. When they say that the universe has a plan for you, it really is true. The minute I decided to live in my truth, live openly about being gay and not being ashamed of it, I've met so many beautiful people. The opportunities to speak at conferences like this started to happen, which never happened earlier. So there's something to be said about that universal energy that's out there, I think, protecting and guiding all of us. But the project really came from a moment of confidence, which led to weeks of feeling confident in who I was. And I said, you know what, I'm gonna talk about my experience in an artistic and a very creative way. I remember booking a videographer. I remember booking a photographer. Following Monday, we shot it. On the Wednesday, I received the photos. I selected which photos I wanted to be a part of the project and the quotes that were going to go along with them. The Thursday, she started to design the lookbook. On Friday, the video edit was coming together, and I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. I'm going to release it on Monday. But that Sunday, the shootings in Orlando happened. I think I stepped into a very dark place. I was telling you, I'm getting emotional speaking about it. Weeks of feeling so confident in this message that I was going to put out, and one incident in a city where I didn't even live, suddenly threw me right back into that place of fear. I was fearful of being judged. I was fearful of what my family would say. I was fearful of how my mom would feel. I'm very close to my mother, so it's very important that I always acknowledge and understand where she's coming from and how she's a part of my journey as well. I sat my mother down. I showed her every single photo, a part of the project, and she had already told me how uncomfortable she had felt. She's like, I'm so afraid what's gonna happen. I really don't want you to put yourself out there. But I showed her the photos. I told her exactly what each photo meant, what it was meant to represent for me, and how happy I was with the way the project had come together. And she said to me, she goes, well, son, I can't stop you. But if this is really meaningful to you, then I'll support you. And then that's when I chose to release it. I think what's so special about that journey is I did come to a place where I could release it. Despite being confident and going back into a place of fear, which we all face in our lives in many different ways, I was able to move past that. And I think we all have that power in us to be great or to feel great in what we have to do. And it's funny because growing up, I'm talking about stepping into our power. The direct question is, well, when did you lose your power? I don't think I was born an empowered person. And I think many of us South Asians may realize that. When my parents realized they were having a son, they knew they were going to name him Daniel Ashwin Pillai. He was, going to go on to buy a big house. They were going to live with me. I would go on to be a doctor or a lawyer, and I would marry a woman. I'm sorry, honey, that ain't happening. There's these ideas, there's these expectations, and I was born into these expectations. And I know we can all identify with that in some way, shape, or form in our lives. And there was this mold that I had to fit, yet everything about me could not fit into this mold. I loved the color pink. I still do. I loved playing with my sister's Barbies. She's 5 years older than me. I'd secretly play with her Barbies. I'd play around with my mom's makeup, because I loved watching her put her makeup on. It was like art to me. It was like she was painting. But that was my childhood, and my mom is the youngest of 14 children. So, I pretty much was born into a village, as is. So by the time I was in my adolescence, I had cousins well into their 20s getting ready to go to college, and they were mostly guys. So there were these real ideal examples of what it meant to be a man in the South Asian community, and I was always the odd one out. I would dance at family parties. I would put my little, get my moves on, entertain everybody. And I realized that my father was very embarrassed by that. And he, as I got older, he became more vocal about his embarrassment. And I don't blame him because, like I was born into a set of ideals and values, so was he. And he was just trying to maintain that status quo, and he just wanted his son to fit into that. He didn't want me to be the odd one out. Yet I couldn't fit into this mold. But yet what happened is listening to people say things, being made to feel embarrassed about who you are, being told that you need to step out of this situation because you don't belong, it builds up layers of fear inside you. We all face things in life, but what really matters is how we overcome those situations. It's about how you choose to move on. It's about your perspective on life. It's about what you think of yourself and how you believe you fit into the world. It's not what somebody else thinks of you, and that's the place from which I speak from today. And I want us all to remember that. And it's funny how easily we can forget it, living in this world today with the type of stuff that's happening right now. And so with that, I stand here as I will be 32 soon, but I'm 31 now, a 31-year-old proud gay South Asian man, and I say that because that's an extremely powerful statement for me. To be standing here and saying that I'm part of the South Asian community, a community that doesn't have the most favorable opinion of homosexuality, I'm saying that I'm a proud gay South Asian man, and I'm very proud of that today. I chose to live in this truth a very long time ago, so even if I have these moments of fear that I spoke to you about at the Orlando shootings, I don't have the luxury of moving away from that truth anymore. I decided to tell everybody that I was gay 7 years ago, and I stand by that. And earlier today, the keynote by Azmat Zara, she spoke about holding people in power accountable. Well, once you step into your power, you have to hold yourself accountable to that truth too. If you've stepped into your power and you found your voice and you're going to use it to, create goodness in the world, then you need to hold yourself accountable to that. And that feeling helps you move past certain adversities that you might face. I have to say that when I did put the project out, I received an overwhelming amount of support by people who were not part of the LGBTQ community. There was a woman who reached out to my Facebook page and said, I'm going through a divorce, and you seem to have passed through so much negativity in your life. Can you shed some wisdom for me to help me get past this place in my life? I had parents come up to me and say, I think my son or daughter is growing up gay. How do I have that conversation with them and not be shut out? Because I want to be a part of that experience. I had a school teacher come up to me and say, there are students in my class who are struggling with their sexualities. I see it, I understand it, I know it's happening, but I'm afraid of opening up to them or asking them to open up to me. How do I have that conversation? This is a human experience. It's not a gay experience. It's not about being a lesbian or identifying as queer or transgendered or transsexual or allies or non-allies. It's a human experience. We were born this way. This is who we are. This is how we identify. This is how we want to be accepted. I think this is a universal experience, and that's what I want everybody to know, especially if you may have somebody close to you who may be struggling with their sexuality. But if you have somebody in your life, I think the most important thing you can do is acknowledge the human. the human experience of what they're going through, because it's universal. It's a language that we all speak. It's a language that we're not always brave enough to speak with others. And I think that's the most powerful thing that I want you guys to take away. Thank you.